Oh, well, we're back. We're back in the cave. It's a nice little live stream on a Wednesday morning here. Plenty is happening as PPI comes into the background and markets propelled to the upside. And just we've been saying for the past, I guess, week and a half now, upside in the beginning portion of September. Very likely now following through. As many things do come to fruition, and it looks like Bitcoin probably, I mean, this is like I've been saying, the real chance for Bitcoin and the rest of the market, and honestly, the rest of the market probably more so to take a real leg to the upside, as we do continue to play out what is more or less a major range on Bitcoin. But for a lot of the shitcoins, those ones, like we've been saying for the past week, they have the setups. They are the ones that are actually showing like legitimate upside right now. I was looking at AVAX earlier. This one took a really nice leg up. I think it was up like, 20 or so % on the week, something like that since we last looked at it. It was hanging around about 24, 25 bucks now, all the way up at 28, 29. So yeah, 15% move right there. Not bad. Like I've been saying, this is the opportunity for a lot of these things to take a nice little leg up. Again, I'm not necessarily full on bullish or nothing like that. Do not get me fucking confused. But, I think that these things can run a little bit more alongside Bitcoin, playing out a nice move to the upside here. So that's going to be the focus of today, of course. I'm excited actually to look at some of these shit coins just to see, are we seeing that strength? Are we seeing that strength that we really should be seeing in this sort of portion? And it does look to me like some of the top ones like Solana and a few other ones, yeah, they are putting in some nice move. We did say Solana somewhere around like 240 or so. And yeah, I still think it's going to get somewhere around there. I mean, Jesus, man, I just looked at this for the first time today. Running into position as I was having a nice little dump party before this one began. But yeah, a lot of them just following through now at a good time. So I suppose we shall see where does Bitcoin end this one. Because like I say, I do think that this one does have a timer on it more or less before, well, maybe not before the end of the month, but somewhere around the end of the month to the beginning of October. Anyways, I am in a full on like I guess macroeconomic mood. I don't know. I was, I've been watching a lot of content regarding like fundamentals and whatnot. Not that I really want to make it a part of this, of this channel, but there was something really interesting that I've been studying recently, which is kind of, I guess, the plan that the current administration has in the U.S., the Trump administration has to use crypto to effectively aid them. Because, you've been hearing about this a lot recently, or I mean, at least I've been hearing about this a lot. It's like somehow the U.S. is going to use crypto to fix the whole situation. And I've actually looked into it a little bit more because it's really, really bugging me. And I mean, I guess I kind of understand. I don't know if it's going to fucking work, but, at least there's a bit of a plan there. I'll explain in a moment here. I just realized that I'm massively low on water. I'm going to request that Elsa fills this up. It is really good water today, though, I will say. I'm going to turn off the camera because Elsa does not want to be seen. She who must not be seen. Anyways, can you fill up this water, please? Por favor. Or ketos. Anyways, yes. All right. Yeah. So I'll explain. And then we'll get into some more fun stuff. But yeah, it seems to me like the plan with the current administration to use crypto or namely no ice. Do not put fucking ice in my water. Like, disgusting, okay? My digestion cannot handle it. Anyways. Hey, and make it fast, okay? What are you doing over there laughing and having a good time? This is real work. Move it. This is the way to talk to your significant other. Anyways, yeah, it seems to be the plan with not necessarily crypto, but namely stable coins. Hey, for fuck's sake, like, stop fucking around. Anyways, it seems like the plan is with stable coins because if you recall, not so long ago, there was this thing called the Genius Act that passed in the U.S. And the Genius Act basically legalized stablecoins in a way and required stablecoin issuers to hold U.S. treasuries and equivalents as collateral, I think up to like 80%, which is quite high. For example, when you put your money in a bank and, it just sits there, the bank, they go ahead and they basically loan that money out as well. But they don't need to hold that much. They need to hold, I think it's like less than 10%, maybe even less than 5%. I don't know the exact number, but it's very, very low. Anyways, for these stablecoin issuers, they are going to be forced to hold 80% in U.S. treasuries or equivalents, basically. So The idea is that as the stablecoin market grows, we have forced buyers for U.S. Treasuries. If you have forced buyers for U.S. Treasuries, that helps keep demand up, which helps lower the interest rates on those because that's the whole function. The more people that want it, the lower interest rate that you get, and that can help propel some cheap money. Now, is that going to work? I don't fucking know, but it does seem to me that the plan is just growth overall. And I guess we'll find out in this next couple of years if that's actually going to fucking work. It's pretty bold, to be honest, because I have been studying a lot of these, a lot of like end of empire type stuff when currency debasement typically happens. And almost when countries get to the point that, the U.S. is almost no countries do survive in the sense that things stay the way they are. In this case, the American dollar being the world reserve currency, does seem like it's kind of inevitable to go into a multipolar world, except for one instance, which is Japan. But even then, I mean, they basically had stagflation for a long time. Anyways, perhaps a conversation for another time. I do think it's kind of fun to talk about, just as I kind of learn a little bit more about it. But yeah, I mean, at least Japan's like kind of an example of things working out, but also kind of not. I mean, maybe some Japanese people in the comment section can let us know their thoughts on that, because I understand that might be a controversial statement from what I see in Japan. But hey, also one of the nicest places in the world, and also absolutely the coolest people. Ray Dalio, baby, yeah, man. I've certainly consumed a lot of his content. Ray Dalio, I absolutely love him. I absolutely love his content, and I love his books, man. I really do. Is it going to play out exactly like that? I don't know, but what better guide do we have than history for the past, hundreds and hundreds of years? So yeah. Shalom, Neck. Very, very clever. You're the first person to think of that, sir. Nicely done. Thank you for that, sir. I appreciate that. What's up, Mr. Fiboswani? Every empire dies in the same way, not with a bang, but with a slow hiss of currency bleeding out. Actually, yes. Well, yeah. More or less, yes. I mean, at some point, a lot of the time you will get a challenger, and then it does kind of, you do kind of get like a kinetic war. But yeah, it's a long process. A lot of people like to talk about the fall of Rome, right? But what people don't realize, or what people don't mention, maybe they don't know, it could be ignorance, is that from the time that, Rome really started to experience like serious debasement and decline, between that time and the actual end of the Roman Empire, that was hundreds of years. It was hundreds of years that it kept on going on. By the way, Fiboswani, I need to tell you, man. I need to tell you. I've been, I've been listening to this course recently about Fibonacci numbers, man. I am convinced Fibonacci numbers are nature's numbers. That's like, they are fucking everywhere, man. It's everything. If you saw the Matrix, it would be all Fibonacci numbers. That's the way that I think about it, man. It's actually insane, the amount of different places that it shows up. I love it. I fucking love it, man. Yeah, it's definitely a process. I agree, man. I agree. By the way, check out Fiboswani's interview with Big Cheds, both good friends of this channel, on Big Ched's channel. I really, really enjoyed it. You get to know Mr. Swanee a little bit better, and in his systems a little bit better as well. Isn't the Fibonacci numbers used in the galaxies? It's not used. I mean, it is. It is. Everything, okay, not everything, but most things in nature employ some sort of aspect of the Fibonacci ratio, or just numbers in some aspect. Like, for example, the way that petals in a flower are kind of outlaid around the seed. If I'm thinking about like a sunflower, for example, it follows a Fibonacci ratio. It's very bizarre. Maybe it's not so bizarre. It's just, it is. But yeah, man. Anyways, I'm coming over to the dark side. I mean, I've always been a fan of Fibonacci's. I just didn't know the full implications and just how deeply pervasive they are in everything, in nature. So absolutely, it makes sense that that's kind of the way that our minds, it's the mathematical representation of how human psychology works. That's my working theory right now. I don't know if you agree with that or not, Mr. Swanee, but that's kind of how I see it. It's just ingrained in us, man. It's our fucking nature. I mean, shit. That's why, why you think the girl or boy of your dreams is attractive? It's because their body has a Fibonacci ratio between, typically like the best parts, right? So for men who love women, it's like something between the, the hips and the, or the waist and the boobs, or something like this. And then for men, it's like your shoulder width to your waist, something like this. That follows a Fibonacci ratio, and typically amongst different cultures, what is considered beautiful are the closest ratios to that match that. Super fucking interesting to me. Anyways. That's right. I'm not attracted to Elsa. I'm attracted to the numbers that her body provides. That's exactly right. Thank you. You have good numbers. You have very, very good numbers. Very, very good numbers indeed. Alan Turing for spotted fibs in flowers. Interesting. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of things. What's up, Mr. Henry Whitaker? Good to see you, man. The diamond-shaped pattern on pineapple skin runs in 3 Fibonacci sets of spirals, 8, 13, 21. Indeed, man. Indeed. Also another good friend. Mr. Van Doy saying, good morning, man. The Fibonacci chips are the best. Are they? What is that? The hips don't lie. Indeed, they don't, Mr. Marco C. Prickly Peppy has some nice emoticons right there. Elliot J says, what the hell is Crown talking about? Is he on that? Is he on that marijuana again? Yes, indeed, sir. I am a patient, okay? This is a very serious thing, and I want your respect. Anyways, upside down pineapple means you like to swing. That's what I hear. I didn't know this one, and also like apparently unicorn emoticons as well. Wait till you find out about the fine constant. The fine constant? Perhaps yes. I think I feel like I've heard that somewhere. In some venue. Turtle shells follow the lunar cycle. Do they really? How does that even work? No leaderships, no partnerships. ETC, BTC. I don't know about ETC, but BTC, yeah. Don't have to worry about that shit with Bitcoin, I suppose. A man is actually suing Smart Water because drinking it didn't make him smarter. I'd like to formally announce my lawsuit against the mints. Thin mints. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Full on witch time. Indeed, man. Indeed. But yeah, like I said, I was kind of rushing to get back to my computer before this stream started, so I kind of want to take my own time to look at the charts here and just see. I really like to check out Bitcoin versus the yen. A lot of the time you'll see things that are just more obvious here, but right now we're not really getting anything unique from this chart that's not already on Bitcoin versus US dollar. I don't know, this one, yeah, this one's seemingly on the precipice of a nice little breakout here as well, but all of these charts are more or less the same. They're all the same. You know, using last Thursday's high and low effectively as range breakers. Obviously, Bitcoin's poked a hole in the top side of that boundary, but not really closing above it just yet. It's a long day left to go. Of course, if Bitcoin does close above it, you know, I think that we're going to see a pretty decent move to the upside if that were to happen. Until then, you know, more of the same, I suppose. But as you know, as we've been saying on this channel for the past week and a half now, this is the chance for the Bulaws to put in a nice little move to the upside, at least in my opinion. I do, however, still remain cautious and probabilistically speaking, I think it's a lot more likely to see, you know, another swipe to the downside. I don't know, maybe it comes end of this month, early next month, whatever it ends up being, I don't know, but somewhere around the current low, maybe a little bit lower as well. Just depends how much time evaporates between now and that trajectory. The longer that it takes, the less and less low that I think you know, you'll get. The quicker that it takes, well, the more low probably gets. Anyways, I'll read through a few more of these comments and we'll get into actually the actual analysis of the day. Got some hairy witches going on here. Indeed, I am. I'm the hairiest witch of all time. I'm also the youngest man of all time alive as well. Have you seen my Whoop score? It's very low, very, very low indeed. Heard the Adam Sandler show was amazing. Actually, fuck man, I wish we could go to that, but I think we missed it. I love Adam Sandler. If you were born in if you were growing up in the 90s. You love Adam Sandler. You just do, because he was in every fucking movie you watched. He was great. Mr. Dive Center says, hi from Honduras. Holy shit, man. You must be the only person here from Honduras, but that's awesome, man. Glad to have you here, sir. And more power to you. Bitcoin versus orange fruit prices, always the real tell. Oranges are a pretty damn good commodity, not going to lie. This guy just won't admit he was wrong about correction. Sir, I've been saying the same thing since the beginning of fucking September. You lobotomized moron. I do not understand, with all of the caveats that I provide, saying, in the short term, likely to go up. Then, likely to correct more. But a fucking idiot like you just cannot understand that, unfortunately, man. That is just, it's just sad, man. It makes me sad. Several things make me sad today, man. Shit like that. And then also fucking reading about this Ukrainian who got murdered in North Carolina. I actually saw some of the video. I think I almost cried as well. It's fucking bad, dude. It's really fucking bad. Both those things make me equally as sad, which is probably sad as well. But yeah, I think anyone who's been listening to this channel for a while now, or at least the last week and a half, has probably heard me say something around that. Look, I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. At the end of the day, I'm going to be wrong. I use statistics to judge what I think is most likely or what is most likely to happen. Doesn't mean it's always a guaranteed certainty. So I understand logically there will be times absolutely when it is wrong. But a fucking idiot like you doesn't even know when it's wrong, which is very sad. Very, very unfortunate. So yeah. Anyways. Freedom Seeker says, okay, Bitcoin TA time. Maybe not. Hi from Mordor. Fuck yeah, man. All right, let's look at some Bitcoin price action analysis. See what Wednesday is going to bring us. I believe Wednesday actually does have the highest positive returns, but let's let it load for a moment here. Yeah, Wednesday still has the highest positive returns out of any weekday for positive closing Wednesdays. And also amongst actually the most likely days to close positive as well, just below Monday actually, with 52. It's about 14% of all Wednesdays closing positively since this bull market began in 2023. Again, you know, using these average gains and average losses here, we can see some areas of interest for the boundaries for today. To the upside, about 114.420 is going to be the area of interest. And it should be noted that we haven't actually seen the top side or bottom side hit in the last 1, 2, 3 days. That is very, very uncharacteristic of even the past couple of months here. Almost always gets hit or very, very close to it, but we actually haven't seen that for the past 3 days. But yeah, that'd give us a nice little area of interest to the upside around 114.420. To the downside, that'd give us a nice little area of interest around 109.700. You know, I'd still say as far as the short term goes, if you want like the most just simplistic technical analysis, it's really the same here. It's last Thursday's high and more or less the resulting low on Friday as the range high and low on a closing basis. Bitcoin's obviously a lot closer to popping up above the top side of that. That high from last Thursday was what, 113.400. So again, if you're looking at the price action pivots here, it's just basically this one to the upside versus this one to the downside. Whichever one gets broken first, likely going to be a big direction. Now, of course, in this case, it does look like Bitcoin is going to take this chance. I mean, if not now, seriously, fucking when? To the upside. And if we do see a closure above that number today, particularly, you know, I'd really be looking for Bitcoin to make a nice leg up, at least 115,500, maybe even all the way up to this high over here, something like that. But anyways, getting back into the actual notes that I laid out a little bit earlier, I do want to acknowledge a few things. So a couple of things of relevance here would be that the 2-day time frame hidden bullish divergence did confirm as of yesterday. Sorry, not just the 2-day time frame, but also the 3-day time frame, I believe, as well. Oh no, the 3-day time frame actually did not confirm officially. It's going to be a formality, to be honest. But yeah, it does technically need to close above about 113. We did not see that happen yesterday. Obviously, Bitcoin actually closed significantly below there, about 111,550. But yeah, again, you know, do we really need to wait 2.5 days for this? I mean, I suppose if you want to go by the book, but yeah, that is populated there. The 2-day time frame already obviously has it fully confirmed. I think CME is also on the verge of confirmation. That would be coming in tomorrow with any sort of a closure here or higher. 3-day time frame is actually not present on CME, but should be if we do see Bitcoin close above about 114. In these cases, you know, hidden bullish divergence plus the daily stochastic momentum, which has been nice and northly positioned for the past, for the past, I guess, week and a half now. Yeah, 10 days. Do give me, again, that short-term bullish bias. If Bitcoin can actually pop back above and close above, again, last Thursday's high, I think that this one can run, a decent amount. We do, of course, have that nice little gap coming in on CME from way back on over here. This was the 22nd of August, so about a couple weeks ago now, and that is about 117 or just below 117. We can also see that if we were to put a nice little inverse bearish Fibonacci retracement here, that would give us an area of interest at around, I don't know, somewhere between these two major numbers right here. 50% level technically is not a Fibonacci, but somewhere between there. That's actually a little bit higher. Oh, that's because I'm looking at CME. Let's go over here to spot price action. Already have it in there. Yeah, basically upper 115s, I think on the lower end, and then maybe as high as like 118 or so, around the 618 is where, I'd generally be looking for on this rally. Again, assuming that Bitcoin can actually succeed and close above that last Thursday high. But right now, this must be the chance. Like if it's not going to happen now, when the fuck is it going to happen? Anyways, on the other side, of course, 110 to the downside, still going to be that big pivot as long as Bitcoin's above there. Not really looking at anything in particularly interesting, I'll put it that way. And of course, I do want to follow up on the tether dominance chart as well. So this one's starting to look a lot more interesting to me because if we are going to expect like a pretty nice move to the upside here, multi-$1,000 move to the upside, we should be looking for a rejection on the tether dominance chart. And that is exactly what's happening as of right now. This one's been pretty fucking annoying to look at recently, to be honest. But as of right now, we do see the price action pivots actually marking this one off as a, as the next local and relevant high at about 460 or so. So, looking at this one turning down yet again, is it going to swipe these lows, come back down to like 420 or so? I mean, if it does, that's going to be a pretty big move across the board in cryptocurrency land. Do we get one more stab down around this region over here? Definitely possible. I mean, one thing that's kind of been bugging me is that this current sort of stint in this area that has been the lows on the tether dominance chart is demonstrably lower than the last few ones. So thus far, there's been about 56 days spent in this zone. Before that, Bitcoin spent about close to 3 months, around 91 days in that zone before putting in a nice real upside reversal. So yeah, I think that this one can still take a little bit more time. That kind of aligns with end of month type stuff, as we've been saying is kind of likely over here. So fair enough. Anyways, we went over targets on that one. Also, just kind of checking on Revan's new baby over here. I guess we're going to call it the Revan Ribbons. I don't know if that's a good name. What's going to be a good name for this one? It's a beautiful indicator, to be honest. So needs a good name. Needs a really good name. Maybe Revan Ribbons is the right name. First off, I'd like for it to fucking load. That'd be good. I'll take a sip of this coffee while perhaps that happens. The Elsenator? The Elsenator? Yeah. So this one is suggesting to the upside upon continuation anywhere in this blue box right here. Kind of the same numbers as I spit out earlier, about 115,500 on the lower end. This one a little bit higher, however, as well at around 119,650. So anywhere in there, probably fair game. Again, assuming Bitcoin does follow through on this breakout. But like I've been saying, it's funnily enough, one of those times where actually I do think that altcoins probably more interesting to be looking at here. A lot of them have been setting up in a lot more constructive manner compared to Bitcoin in the short term, not necessarily in the long term, obviously, but they are getting their short term setups. But here's the thing: while I do still think Bitcoin, it's poised here for that move, I still personally would like to see it actually close above last Thursday's high, just to avoid getting caught in another one of these damn fake moves. Essentially, the long term still is more or less the same to me in that we're very likely to see a correction lower. Granted enough time, somewhere around this green moving average right here. Why? Because anytime that we've seen this red moving average cross the downside of the yellow moving average, which is a 4 EMA below the 21 EMA, this is now a 4-day time frame, we've seen a minimum correction down to the green moving average every fucking time. When I say every time, I mean every fucking time. We can go back 10 years together, but we saw this. We saw the most recent example over here. This one happens more or less instantly on the next closure, so very, very quickly, very, very painlessly, in a way, I guess. Same thing over here, more or less same thing over here. Keep in mind that these are all 4-day periods, so this takes realistically about 2 weeks from the actual initial signal firing off to that corrective low. But again, that is a minimum target. A lot of these ones go lower, decently lower. Same shit over here as well. Again, this would not be a profitable way to trade, but it does help with long-term sort of analysis on YouTube, which is more or less intended to be like a directional bias analysis. Same shit over here. We can go back further than that. Same shit over here. Same shit over here. Same shit over here. This one obviously dropping a lot lower than that minimum green 55 EMA target. Same shit over here. Same shit over here. I'm trying to find an example where this did not play out at all, and I've yet to find one just yet. Maybe back here. Okay, so this one did cross over here. The test happened before that. You could argue maybe that one didn't really count, but at the same time, you did still get that test down around there. My point is the test has not happened. Yeah, there is not an example in history. There is one example in history. One example in history where it did not officially touch that green 55 EMA. That was more than 10 years ago in 2012. But yeah, it does exist, I suppose. So it's not impossible. The question is, do we get a rally first and then come down, or we just come down from here? Like I said, it would seem if there ever was a time for a rally first, probably this time. But yeah, that green moving average is at around 104 right now. We just got a new update as of last night, by the way. And of course, it will be rising up with each and every passing closure. But at some point we expect a minimum move somewhere down around there, just again, based off of the long-term setups and probabilities. And we've seen this setup on a million different, well, not a million different time frames, but we've seen it many times on this channel now. Even in the past month, we saw it first on the 12-hour time frame, then we saw it on the daily, then we saw it on the 2-day, the 3-day, and now the 4-day has it. The 5-day time frame is not really close to getting it, so this is not a major concern. But obviously, if that were to happen, I mean, that's going to propel a much deeper correction, obviously. But as of right now, I mean, we've seen all these things follow through. If I have to bet on one side, I'm going to bet on the thing that's a high probability. So I'm going to bet on that. Doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin's like bearish and all this kind of shit. I mean, again, you have to be as retarded as that guy earlier to interpret it as that. It could very easily be that it gets another correction and then it heads up later on. I think that would still be a much more healthy thing for the long term. And generally good. I mean, that aligns, at least in my opinion, with a longer cycle, if you even want to call it that. I'm not even sure it's a cycle anymore, to be honest. But generally speaking, I do think that would be a long-term good signal that this market is going to continue with that up and to the right party, which ultimately is what most people who are long-term investors would realistically want. Obviously, if you're a crypto herpity derp who's looking for a herpity derp coin to go 1 million X. That probably is not the best scenario for something like that to happen. But hey, Bitcoin would explode to the upside right here. I mean, I guess that would be probably best for them. Anyways, yes. So we spoke about that. I won't go into any more further details. I think it's time to get on into the comment section over here. What's up, Mr. Igor Strubel? How you doing, man? Good morning to you, sir. Good morning to you. Elsa is indeed a bird. She's confirmed bird confirmation. Amazing. Is Elsa a parrot or what's going on back there? Yes, she is literally a bird. She has feathers. She has wings. She flies away. She still can't get fucking Nelly Furtado's song right though. So there's that. Still skulls, Squidward, Squidworm. These are the terrible things. And also a monk. What? Oh, and also a monkey. Yes, you are a monkey. All right. Let's see what we got over here. I'm gonna already guess we got doggy first. Let me just double check here though. Un momento. Oh, sorry. I just realized, Bear, that yes, I do not have the latest version right here. My apologies on that one. Do I have it on this chart? Oh shit, I haven't done it either. Or did it not save it? Or have I just been lobotomized myself? Probably my own self-lobotomy. Anyways, my own self-lobotomy going very, very well. Steven Schickman's first. He's looking at doggy, both the USD pairing and the Bitcoin pairing. Let's look at the US dollar pairing first. Again, we did say last week if this thing trades above 22.5 cents, look for a move to about 25 cents. We have seen that as of the last couple of days. Yeah, yesterday's high, basically. Again, I mean, does this one have potential for more? I actually think that it does here, to be honest. I do think that it will try a little bit higher, 25.5 cents. That's your next sort of major price action pivot to be aware of. Is this a formality or not? I think it probably is in this case, honestly. Like if Bitcoin takes a leg up, let's just hypothetically say 116. Do I think that this thing's not going to break out of this high right here? No, that would be the chance for something like Dogecoin and many of the other pieces of shits as well to rally up above those, relevant regions. And at that point, have to be looking for a move probably into the 30s, I would imagine. Anyways, I'll pin your message just one moment. So, we're just going level by level here essentially. And looking at this one, man, already being around the top side of your range, it's in a good position right now. So if Bitcoin takes that leg up, I would really expect this one to ultimately get somewhere into the low 30 cents. I really would, can't be bearish on this thing as long as you're above 20.5 cents. It's been the same fucking pivot since mid to late August now. So nothing's really changed there, but goddamn, man. I don't know. When these things start to rally, I get a little bit more cautious, to be honest. But yeah, I think that it does have likely some more. I think Bitcoin likely does follow through here as well. It's the end of the month / beginning of October that I start to get a little bit more paranoid on these things. But for right now, if there ever was a time, this would essentially be it. Looking at Doggy versus BTC, I imagine this one's actually probably rallying as well. Rallied right up to the 377, so a little bit of a different look here. I mean, if you are going to get a rejection, that would make a lot of sense on a daily. Weekly, also rallying into all of the major moving averages. I mean, again, this is kind of a down-only chart to me, man. I'm more inclined to say that the ratio most likely does top out around here, to be honest. Again, that's just my opinion. If I'm wrong, I'm going to be fucking disastrously wrong. Why? Because this thing will explode to 280, maybe even 300 if that were to happen. But I'm just not going to go against that. Granted, the long-term history of this thing, man, likes to go down into the right, failing all of these rallies. No new highs during the whole current bull market. So I look at that as kind of a failure, to be honest. But yeah. Again, rallying into a major region like this, I'm personally going to say I think that it does fail here. But hey, if I'm wrong, I'm going to be massively wrong. So how do you know that I'm wrong, or at least my bias is wrong on this one? You'll see a daily closure above about 225 Satoshis. At that point, I think that this thing can rally up big, somewhere around 300, let's say, give or take a little bit from that number. And of course, to the downside, like anywhere below, again, last Monday's low, I mean, this thing's going to fall apart to probably where it belongs ultimately. But yeah, man, do want to also acknowledge here the monthly time frame is kind of flipping into a bearish silver cross. Not great, but yeah. I mean, I guess on the other side, if I want to play, if I want to play both sides, yeah, there is some bullish divergence here on the monthly RSI. I just don't know how much I trust it, to be honest, on something like this. Again, that is more or less a personal opinion than real technical analysis, but fair enough. Anyways, all right, what else we got here? Let me go down the list. Pricey says RHM stock. Nice. We got some stonks action going on. Rheinmetall. Oh, nice. Okay, some good defense contractors. Really, really good here. I love charts like this. They go up and to the right. It's a defense stock as well. We love that. Look, man, is it going to make new highs from here? Is it going to spend some more time within this range? I think it actually does have a good chance to actually fully break out here. You do have hidden bullish evidence on the weekly RSI. So yeah, this actually should have a real chance to break out. It'll be fully confirmed above the price action pivot of 1888. Above there, I'll just be looking for new all-time highs, man. Ultimately, whether this thing makes new all-time highs on this current rally or corrects a little bit more and then makes new all-time highs, I wouldn't get like too cute with it. This one it's fucking good. It's likely going up more. And again, this kind of reminds me of gold as well on the monthly. It's like it's above all major moving averages. It continues to hold above there. It's rallying off of that. Very likely, I think it's just gonna. I honestly think it's just gonna try more upside from here. It's good narrative play as well, so fair enough. In the short term on the daily, do you get one more pullback, off of this high? Maybe yes. I just don't know if it matters that much, to be honest, because the long term really does really does look like whether it's now or later, this one wants to make new highs. It's fucking good. Nothing bearish about this thing as long as you're above about 1450 or so. Fair enough. Marco C says, "When moon, sir? Sir, I need the money. I need the money. I would like some money as well. Could you give me money? Money now, please." I mean, it looks to me like it's right now, man. I mean, depending upon what you define as a moon, I don't think we're necessarily going to see a moon from here. But now that I recognize it, the weekly time frame is going to plot in some hidden bullish divergence between the lows of mid-June, which Bitcoin was trading, about $10,000 lower, and the lows that we're seeing right here. So, yeah, I think Bitcoin's going to rally more, most likely. I think this thing could even get around like 117. It's not like a fucking moon move, obviously, but what is it going to do to some of these shitcoins that look like they're, really setting up for like the last, for really realistically the last few weeks? I mean, they're going to be the big beneficiaries of this one, I think. Anyways, what were you going to say? All right, I thought Elsa was talking in the background, but apparently was not. Anyways, Ray now says, "Good morning, Crown. What's up, man? Hope you're doing great. Hope you're doing well as well, sir. I'm looking at IDFCFIRSTB, Indian stock market on weekly and monthly." Thank you for specifying all of that. It makes it a lot more simple, especially when looking at more exotic markets, let's say. Let's go out first. And you are on your very high term timeframes. Overall, I like the reversal here on the long term. I do want to look at the quarterly really quick. I don't necessarily know if this one's ready to move to the upside from here. It looks like it will give another try towards this high that you saw from July. Does it break above there or not? I don't know. Overall, long term, I think it is good. Yeah, it probably does try some more rally here. Generally just bullish on the short term for the weekly as long as you're above 67.25. I'll be looking up and to the right. If you do lose 67.25, I'm not necessarily bearish on it. I just think it corrects more to the south side first, around 57 or so, and then tries another move to the upside. Overall, man, this one more or less just got another macro higher low in April, so I wouldn't fight that, to be honest. The general direction is up and to the right. The question is, does it happen exactly from here or not? I think this one actually does try a little bit from here. Not bad at all, as Bitcoin gets close to 114. Ever so lovingly grazing it right there. Yeah, if I go down to a daily, maybe a very short-term pullback. I don't know if that's relevant to you or not, but again, it sounds like you're very high-term time frame, so I probably wouldn't sweat that personally. Anyways, all right. Wait, what? Who said that? The trend line extent. Oh, you mean I'm using log scale? Yeah, I did have log scale up on this one. My apologies there. Let me see if I got on this one as well. No, usually I'm on regular scale. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now we're good. Now we're good. Anyways, all right. Let me get back onto it. Million things at once. Assy says Tesla short term. All right. We've been bullish on Tesla for a while. Short term though, I'm still bullish on it. I mean, short term. If you mean like a daily time frame, because I think usually you're quite long term from what you ask. You know, maybe you get another correction down to fill this gap at like 339, 340. I don't know if that matters to you that much. If I'm looking at the monthly, if I'm looking at the quarterly, overall, I like this. I mean, again, full disclosure, I do hold this as a stock. So I am talking my book here to a certain degree, but I hold it because, well, I generally like the chart. I generally think it's going up. Not a humongous position to be fair, but yeah. Anyways, you know, does it correct back down to like 340 or something? Probably, yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily call that bearish. I think it's just a pullback as this one gets ready to constructively try another, you know, decent move to the upside, close to 400. Again, nothing really bearish about this chart on the weekly as long as you're above the July low, which is more or less $300. So, yeah. Anyways, Darian says, what you think of useless coin for next month? Probably useless, man. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, man. Yeah. This one, I mean, in a time when most things in this market are using this opportunity to take some nice, you know, legs to the upside, this is just a loser in my opinion. You know, nothing really interesting here as long as you're below, what is it, this high. You know, do I think it's going to reclaim that high in the next month? I don't fucking know, man. I just know that, look, when I see something like this, when I see something like it's a literal fucking meme coin, it's not setting up well when most of the things in this market are. It's not fucking good. Like, it's not fucking good, okay? Maybe it's a little bit higher in the next month. I don't know. Is it going to outpace other things? Probably not, because it's fucking useless, man. Like, I cannot highlight this enough. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. If you want to play in the fucking shit bin, you play in the fucking shit bin, but understand what you're getting yourself into. I think there's going to be much better options in the next month, if any, if this thing even does try to the upside. But for right now, it's kind of struggling to even hold. And ultimately, this is another lower high. So I think that this one's reversing into a long-term downtrend. And whatever rallies you do get will be short-lived and ultimately fail. So, yeah. Anyways, we have Gus Kretsch next. He says react on the 4-hour and daily. Sure, man. REACT, US DERP, reactive network. Okay, you're on the 4-hour and the daily. You are retesting kind of an area, not right now, but last week you did retest kind of the area that did produce that spike high before failing. What was that? In March, yeah. So very common to pull back from there. I think it probably spends a little more time pulling back, maybe close. I mean, it's kind of already gotten there, but about 860. That's 8.60 cents or something like this. If it fails there, I'd be looking somewhere around 7.5 cents, something like this. Overall, though, not terrible right now. I would generally be bullish on it as long as you're actually above last week's low. Below last week's low, everything I say goes out the window, and this thing is going to fall like the fucking shit from my ass this morning. Until then, it's actually in a better position than most just because it is around those prior highs. Just don't want to see it really falter much below your Sunday low. So, yeah, overall, if you're going to be into something, you know, if you're going to play in the shitcoin drawer, you might as well play something that's a little bit newer. And this one is a little bit newer, and at least it's around those prior highs. So that's a better signal than most of the things, you know, a lot of the ones that we've seen today, to be fair. So, yeah. Anyways, if you're really interested about the 4-hour time frame, short term, you know, does a retest this low here first and then bounce? Probably, yeah. So, I mean, it's not that much lower, to be fair, but, you know, maybe around 8.8 to 8.6 cent, somewhere around there. Anyways, Straight Path is saying, GM, are we bullish on CIFR? I don't know about you, and I don't know about myself either. I haven't even checked. Let's see. Yeah. Jesus Christ, man. I would have expected this one to pull back a little bit more before this one tries to break up, but hey, fair enough. Now it's retesting effectively the breakdown from October/September of 4 years ago. You know, another kind of area where you have to be defensive about a short-term pullback. But again, just like this prior one over here, I don't think it's going to be a reversal. I think it's just a short-term pullback, consolidates, tries again to the upside. This is the chance for a lot of these things to really try a real move. And again, the monthly time frame, you know, you have a real reversal here. So I'd respect that, man. You know, this thing could pull back, I don't know, back down to like low $9 if it wants. I'm not saying it's going to, but if it does, like that would be kind of, or that would make a lot of sense. But ultimately, I think that this one will try higher. You know, setting up in good positions at the right time. Anyways, Karopi GMA says, or is it Karopi Grandma? I don't know. Anyways, RCL monthly 3-month forming a double top. Maybe. Double tops usually don't last for too long. Oh, you're looking at Royal Cruise Lines. Or is this Carnival Cruise? Is the 3-month time frame forming a double top? There cannot be a double top here because there's only one. I don't know, maybe you're on like a daily. Still not a double top really in my opinion, but I do think that you are forming a local high, which is a swing high, and it will come down a little bit more, but I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm bearish on this. I think you could correct down to like 325 region. That wouldn't be too much of a problem. But with a quarterly like this, you know, that just closed on a bullish engulfing right here, I would go as far to say I don't think that the highs are in just yet. I think you're just in a correction. You know, it can come down, like I said, to low 300s, but I'd be looking for higher lows there on the first pass. I'd really only like the point where I say, hey, this thing has a top in place for a long time and it's going to enter into, you know, a decent long-term downtrend is when you take out the last higher low, which was your August low at about $300. You know, you can get down and close to there, but you know, 320 is still a higher low to be fair. So is it a double top? I mean, kind of in the sense that I think you're going to get a pullback here. I don't think it's going to be reversal, or at least not yet. It'd be much too early to call something like that. And again, with the last monthly and the way that the quarterly is shaping up, I would be biased against that, to be honest. So yeah. What's up, Gallo? GM, man. Why bake up? What's bake? Why? Oh, it's a shitcoin. I don't know. There might be more buyers than sellers. That could very well be. It's bakery token. Is it up? I mean, is it really up, or is it just a down only chart that is getting another one-off pump? I mean, look, man, you're in the midst of one of these. I cannot fucking stress this enough, man. All rallies fail on garbage shit like this, man. If you're gonna play in the shitcoin drawer, you have to realize you're playing a stupid game that is gonna have a stupid prize. I say that with love. I say that with love because I love you, Mr. Gallo. You're one of my favorite commenters because it's actually really fun to talk with you. I like the back and forth, man. I really do. But I don't see anything different about this rally than I do about this one over here, or this one over here, or this one over here, or this one over here. The one thing that's constant in this thing's history is that all rallies fail. All rallies fail, all rallies fail, and all rallies likely will fail for the foreseeable future, man. And this looks like another great place for this rally to fail. If it by some act of God, it does get another extension to the upside, I'd be looking somewhere around 30 cents, which is a 200 simple on the weekly. But yeah, man, I really don't like these sort of things. And again, when I see this sort of stuff on, you know, more or less dead projects, I don't know if this one's actually dead, but I mean, the chart is fucking dead. That's usually a very bad sign for whatever sort of phase that we're in, because one of the things that I learned in traditional markets, this was like ancient knowledge from my mentor, is that the junk rallies last. And this is, this is junk and it's rallying, and that makes me concerned. Again, I think that Bitcoin can rally higher than where it is right now. It's just, I do still remain defensive for a correction a little bit lower. And with this stuff rallying, you know, like this, I mean, it's like, Jesus Christ, the four horsemen are rising. Anyways, you're saying I did not buy because don't trade mega shitcoins. Oh shit, I should have read the rest of it. My apologies. I judged too soon. Binance was going to delist and went to the moon. Yeah, I mean, again, another example of why you can't follow the news. You can't follow the fundamentals because none of it makes sense anyways. HLB Comer says, if you had to pick one, would you rather go to the Epstein Island or a Diddy party? That's a really good question, man. I mean, I feel like the people at the Epstein Island are probably, they would be more interesting to talk to. Like Diddy party, who am I going to talk to? Usher, you know? I don't fucking care about him. I want to talk to Stephen Hawking, man. Okay, who cares? Do I want to talk to child molesters? No, I want to talk to very scientific people, okay, who are also child molesters. That's who I want to speak with. Tell me your secrets. Anyways, Gallows back says, yesterday I saw some meta signals go long and short for the same coin, different strategy, same coin, same time frame. That's interesting. I'm short looking at 110 at the Litecoin 4 hour. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, a setup is a setup, right? That can definitely be confused, and I totally understand that. You're on a 4 hour time frame, and also Litecoin here looking, dare I say, constructive, which is another, typically another bad signal overall. But yeah, I mean, this one, like, does it try towards 124, 125? I mean, yeah, I mean, hard not to see this one take a nice little leg up towards 116.5 to 117.5 region. This is a short-term reversal. You got higher highs and higher lows, and you're retesting that last prior high. I mean, the most likely thing to happen here is follow through to the upside with another high. Now, if we zoom out a little bit, that becomes a lot less interesting in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, could easily extend more on the 4 hour time frame, and even the monthly here. Again, it's like, I have this rule just because I've seen it so many times. When you're above all major moving averages, it's not wise to get prematurely bearish because, well, that is structurally bullish until proven otherwise. It's just given the history of Litecoin, I just don't fucking trust it personally. But that's personal opinion, not really statistical or even technical for that matter as well. But yeah, fair enough, man. Fair enough. Anyways, Hubris the God says TMC stock weekly, can it bounce and make a new high? But yeah, man, having a short and long signal, if I understand correctly, on the same time frame, that is very bizarre. I don't think I've seen that happen before. I've seen different time frames far off for that, however. Anyways, TMC stock weekly, can it bounce and make a new high? I mean, the answers to these questions are always yes. It's just, is that a high probability or a low probability? I think this one's correcting for a while here. You just had a parabolic fucking rally, man, and you just had a diabolic dump. After the parabolic rally and then the diabolical dump, you usually get a period of prolonged sideways boringness before any sort of new highs or new lows are made. And I would say the range here is effectively at around 669 to the upside versus your low of August at about 440, there. So yeah, ultimately, if I had to call it, I think this one's actually a little more likely to test the downside first and then, again, go sideways for a while. And maybe, a few months, a year passes and then you get another try at the upside. But again, this was a rally that was basically the majority of this year from, December of last year all the way up until most recently, July. Like, do you think it's just going to shake itself out really, really quickly after a parabolic blow off top like that and then try again to the upside? No, I don't think so. I think you're going to be consolidating sideways for a while, and then maybe later on, like probably, very late this year or next year, maybe get another real try to the upside. But I think you're range bound. Letfi Muradova says PITH USDT. Sure, short term. Let's check it out. I've looked at this one a few times now, but I still don't have like a mental image of what this one looks like. Oh yeah, it's one of these charts. Okay, all right, it's the usual cryptocurrency shitcoin chart. Anyways, short term, let's go down to a daily. Short term, I don't know. Does it extend this rally a little bit more? If it does, 20 cents, I guess makes sense here. I was probably looking for it to come down and fail this rally overall earlier this week, and I still think that it will. Honestly, can it extend the short term run to the upside a little bit more? Yeah, absolutely, but I don't think that this thing's going to like make new highs on this rally above, especially your highs from a month ago, or sorry, really realistically, like just a couple weeks ago. It wasn't that long ago. If anything, if you're really, really focused on the short term, I'm a lot more inclined to say the very short term is honestly difficult here. It's like, okay, is it going to pull back off this high? I don't fucking know. What I feel really confident about is that whatever high you got a couple weeks ago in late August is going to be a high for a very long time. Can you come back around that high? Maybe test around 20 cents again in the short term? Yes, I just don't feel strongly about the short term. What I feel strongly about is the long term, which is this is very likely to be your next lower high in a series of lower highs that will continue for many, many moons to go onwards and forwards from here. I guess you could use yesterday's low as a big pivot now, 15.5 cents. Anywhere below there, this thing will confirm its natural bearishness. But until then, I guess maybe some hopium. I just don't feel strongly about this right here. Yeah, I really don't feel strongly about this right here. If it does make a leg up to 20 cents, hey, fucking, more power to you. That's awesome. But I think it's inevitable that long term it will continue with the down and to the right party. Further confirmed by any sort of really any sort of a closure on a daily below yesterday's low of 15.5 cents. Yeah, I really don't have a strong opinion on the short term, to be honest. Yeah, I don't have any opinion right here. Apologies about that, but I'm always going to shoot you straight when I don't feel strongly one way or another. Anyway, we'll get back onto it here. Holy shit! I see that Elsa's already missed a bunch of these. I'm doing it. I can see it right here. All right, let's see. Cedric says, GM Galaxy Daily Weekly. Love your long-term investing video. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I've really been enjoying putting those together. Mostly because it's a very selfish endeavor. It helps me actually learn a little bit better. But I'm glad that people like it because it's actually quite fun to do, and it's new for me as well. And I got another big one coming out this weekend. I'm going to focus it a little bit more on the psychology of holding long term, just because that's something that I've really tried to nail down as I notice my own sort of psychology, ebb and flow alongside the cycles. Anyways, yeah, man, appreciate that, man. And awesome, man. Fucking hell yeah, from Germany. I actually really loved living in Berlin for a little bit of time. I'm not going to lie. It was awesome, man. Super historical. Anyways, Galaxy here. This long-term chart kind of can be disregarded just because this thing is a different company now, I believe. They focus on cryptos and shit now. I don't really know what they were doing before. But yeah, let's see. Overall bullish. Yeah, overall bullish here, man. Let's see, what time frames are? Oh, you're on a daily and a weekly. Daily time frame, I think in the short term, you probably pop back up somewhere close to this high at $29 or so, anywhere between there and let's just say 30. Maybe get another short-term pullback there. I don't know if that's relevant to you or not. Overall, this thing is bullish. The low from last week at 22.17, I think is an important pivot as well. I just generally be bullish as long as you're above there. Below there, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm bearish. I'd just be looking for a deeper correction, maybe another, actually be kind of a big correction, about 20% correction down to mid 18s. But I'd be biased towards this thing going to the upside. This is actually quite good here, at least in the short term. Maybe I'm missing something. I feel like I am missing something, but yeah, fair enough. All right. Anyways, and again, below last week's low, yes, I do think that this thing would correct, a decent amount, 15 to 20%. But until that happens, man, let the trend be your friend. Illmatic says Domino's DPZ, trading daily, weekly, monthly breakdown starting. Let's see. Are people not eating their pizzas anymore? No more pizza action. Daily. Sorry, this is a 5-day time frame. I don't know about a long-term breakdown, but I do think you're just in a major consolidation range here. Your highs, you already know this, I'm sure. Your highs are effectively this. Your lows are effectively this. You just rejected the high. You just put another lower high right here. I think you're coming back down, to the lows of August. Probably a short-term bounce temp there. I think it probably fails as well. And then you come down a little bit lower towards 410 to 400-ish number. I don't know if I'd call a real breakdown from there. Long term, this is not a bad chart at all. If you did get another move towards let's say 410, 415, I think that personally that would be an opportunity, as this one, is more or less consolidating a pretty epic run since 21, 22. So overall, I'd say this one's actually still quite good. It's just if you're looking at a weekly, can it correct a little bit more and then try some upside? Yeah, I think it's going to probably look something like this. And in the short term, do I, would I be biased towards some downside extensions here? Yes, I would. But these are not the same things as being, full on bearish, looking for a major fucking, collapse or anything like this. Obviously that's always possible, but I wouldn't even be entertaining the possibility of that as long as you're above more or less $400. Yeah, so fair enough. Anyways, hold on, I just lost my place. There we go. Wilcon Ando says Swift weekly monthly. Okay. SWFT. Is this a stock? Or no, it's a fucking coin. Swift coin. Great. Fucking great, man. Fucking amazing. I guess we'll go to the one on... Okay, I guess we go to the one here. Bad. Very fucking bad. Very fucking bad. Very, very bad. Very, very bad. Very bad. Down only. It's a down only chart. We have a parabolic blow off top on a literal shitcoin. Whether it breaks down now or whether it breaks down later, I don't know. Shit, this thing certainly wants to break down right now. I don't know what time frames in this. Oh, sorry, you're going off a weekly and a daily. If the rest of the market rallies and pulls some, some garbage like this up, maybe see a rally quickly to like 1 cent or something. It's possible. These things can rally crazily like that in the short term, but just like all of these prior rallies, they all fail, man. They all fail. This thing is a down-only chart in my opinion, and whether you rally in the short term or not, I think is completely irrelevant to the long term. This thing is like they didn't head back down to half of a cent. If we fast forward about a year out from now, I'd probably be looking somewhere down around there. Very bad. Very, very bad, man. Again, not you as a person. You're probably a very nice person. This chart, though, very, very bad. Very bad chart. Very nice person. Very bad chart. Yeah. Very ugly. Very, very ugly. All right, cool. Let's see. Aaron. What's up, Mr. Aaron? Breakout on AVAX. Yeah. I believe we looked at this one on Monday or last week at your request, and we said, hey, this one is, higher highs and higher lows, man. Hard to hate that, and it's now officially taken its leg up. We said somewhere around $30, and it is not at $30 right now. It is at 28.5. So I'm wrong. No, I just don't think that this run's done just yet. I think it's going to get somewhere around the weekly 200 simple here. So let's just say like very low $30, 31 or so. It's technically at 31.5 right now. Again, I have serious reservations for something like this really bucking this long-term trend, because ultimately you do have parabolic blow off top, lower high again, and lower lows along the way. Do you get another one? Do you get another rally like this? Maybe, but the rhyme here is that it's all lower, and so I fucking hate I hate these things, man. It's really the onus is on these charts to prove themselves before getting on the same side as as like long-term mega bulls or shit like that. Something like this, man. Yeah, I think it's got more upside here. I just don't think that you're gonna see this thing like reverse into a new macro uptrend or anything like this. I would be very happy to be wrong. I'd be very fucking happy to be wrong. But again, that is the long-term trend. So do I think an all-time high again, like above 150? If that's what you mean, no, I don't think that. Maybe you're talking about this high over here. Even then, the rhyme here is it's all lower highs. I think you probably get into the 30s. But if I want to be, optimistically bearish, that would be where I'd be looking for on a lower high. If things spike up a little bit more above there, maybe low 40s. But I'm not going to go against the long-term trend on something like this, man. I'm really not. In the short term, though, it is bullish in the short term. Do not get me wrong about this. And more or less, you could use today's low as a nice inflection point. Don't even necessarily need to wait for last Thursday's low anymore. I think that's kind of irrelevant here. If this thing just trades back down below today's low at $25.5, yeah, it's reversing. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to try more upside first. But until that happens, just let this thing do what it's going to do. Again, there is an intended target based off of this as what would be an ascending triangle, and I think that was one of our $30 targets or so. Let me just double check. Yeah, about almost $31, which is very close to the weekly 200 simple. I like the confluence there. I think that it could probably spike a little bit higher as well, but I'll start to get a little bit concerned around those regions, man. So yeah. Anyway, Sean Maddox says Superverse short and long term. Yeah, I actually have this one on my list. I do keep an eye on this one from my man, Mr. Elliott. Yeah, definitely not the strongest one here, man. Again, I love Elliott. I have nothing but good things to say about him. But as far as the chart goes, it's on the weaker side. That's for sure. I guess the sort of one point of hoping I got here is that you do have rising lows since April of 2025. You got 1, 2, potentially 3 going on right here alongside a test of the weekly 200 simple. And so far it is using it as, as support to bounce off of. So that is a better sign than not. And, if Bitcoin rallies here, most things are going to get a rally attempt as well. For this one, should you give it the benefit of the doubt or not? If you're giving it the benefit of the doubt, I would just need to see a rally back above yesterday's high. Most things are well above yesterday's high. So this thing not being above yesterday's high is not a good sign in my opinion. But fuck, man. Yeah, anyways, if you want to go by the book, you'd be using last Thursday's high. That's 62 cents. If you want to be a little more optimistic, you use yesterday's high. If one of those two things happens, should get a rally up to like 66 to maybe 70 cents or so. So that'd be a, more than 10% rally, more or less. But I don't like how this one's already struggling on this rally, while most things are taking this opportunity to really put in some pretty constructive rallies. But anyways, you said short and long term. Again, monthly here. I do not like this monthly chart, man. I really don't. Yeah, I do have a problem with this one, like more long term, man. Again, it's a good friend. I got nothing bad to say about him, but this chart is, I feel like it's kind of had its chance. It's not really taken the opportunity that it really should be to prove itself here. So that's not a good sign in my, in my experience. Curious what a quarterly looks like. Yeah, especially coming into the end of this month of September, that's going to close out the 3-month chart. If it's anywhere below 70 cents, I'm really not going to like that. And I'd have to be biased towards further continuation to the downside. I'll just put it bluntly like that, man. Again, I'll always give you my unfiltered opinion about a chart. I might be wrong about it, that's for sure. But yeah, man, Ellie's my friend. But hey, I'll shoot you straight. I do think that this one is not looking great here at all. Where would be my pivot for relenting in that, in that belief? This thing would really have to pop back up above August highs, and that's 80 cents or 84 cents almost. So yeah. It's got a lot of work to do, man. I think that this one's personally more likely to come down to these lows in the next few months rather than reverse here. But I guess there's a little bit of hopium with the weekly 200 simple, but the second that this thing trades below last week's low, I mean, that just gets absolutely fucking shattered. So not great, man. Not great. Anyways. Wow, I didn't know Salt Bay had a Bitcoin show. Do I look like a Salt Bay guy? I don't know. I don't even know what he looks like, to be honest. Freddie M says, IREN weekly, how high can it go? How high? How high are you, sir? Let's see. Let's ask it by looking at the chart. It's in a blue sky breakout, man. There's, in my opinion, no great way of judging how high it can go, because things that make new highs continue to make new highs until they don't. I know that's not very helpful, but that is quite literally the truth. I mean, we can pull some Fibonacci extensions here. It might give us some areas of interest. I would not hold my breath too much for this, but you got the 2 extension right here. That's 33.30. You more or less have already gotten there, and you're coming down from that number. So I look at that as getting played off of. Probably spend some time consolidating. If you do see further continuation, the next major area of interest is going to be in the deep 30s, about $39 to $40. Those would be the next major ones over here. Is it going to get up there before a deep correction first? I have no fucking clue. I do think this one's not done making new highs, though, especially with the weekly looking like this, a bullish engulfing. I mean, that's really fucking good. We still got another couple days left in the week to go, but it's, hell, man, any sort of a closure above $30, I mean, that's a setup for higher. Don't need to get too smart on these, man. Don't need to get too cute on these. Just let it do what it's already doing, and have some patience, man. Because when a chart's making new all-time highs, that's typically what it will continue to do for a while. Anyways, how high can it go? $40. I think generally around 40 would be the next major area of interest. Getting above 40, I mean, I'd really be expecting a much more prolonged consolidation before you do anything like that. So it's like, yeah, it might get to $50, but that might be in, I don't know, 5 years, for example. I don't fucking know. So yeah, man. Anyways. Jimmy James. I thought I was going to say Jimmy Jams. Jimmy James. Sorry, man. What's that fucking sandwich place that's called? Jimmy John's. That's Jimmy John's, Jimmy James, Jimmy Jims. My Jim Jams. Anyways, very high, sir, says Kryptone. Yeah, render short and long term. Sure, man. So this one was a very popular shitcoin like a couple years ago. Haven't really heard much about it in recent times, but let's take a quick gander at it. And now you can understand why you haven't heard much about it in recent times. Really don't like stuff like this, man, when most things in this market are making new highs or around prior highs. This thing more or less on the lows. Like, it's not good, comparatively speaking, but and even right now, you do have weekly lower highs here. If I'm following the price action pivots extension, I kind of disagree with it on this particular one. It would be showing an area of interest around 415. I think that this one could rally a little bit closer to like 435 region. But still, that's where the lower highs been kind of coming in around. what's very, very important about this, though, what I would say is I'd really be focusing on is that I just would not be expecting any sort of like a real long-term bullish move until you actually reclaim this high from late July at 466, that is. Until then, man, I mean, this thing's more likely to just put another lower high somewhere below there and continue on with it with the sideways and downside party, man. When I look at the monthly, maybe it has a chance, but these charts that just have one major rally and then, pop up after that, it's usually time to sell, from what I've seen. So yeah, I would really be focusing on this high right here. Again, that early August high. As long as you are below there, I'd be generally bearish, just looking for the next lower high. Does it happen here? Does it happen a little bit higher? Maybe closer to like 4.25? I don't fucking know, but I'll just generally be bearish. Yeah. In the very short term, does it try some upside here? I mean, this would be the time for it. I mean, a lot of these things are going to try some upside in the short term. I mean, shit, man, Bitcoin's at 114 right now. If it goes all the way to 117, do I think that this thing's going to literally stay right here? No, I think it's going to rally up a little bit more. Maybe it gets all the way up to like $4.50. Possible for sure. But again, it's those July highs that really matter for changing the trend. Until that happens, no trend has changed, sir. Anyways, Go with Boris says, good morning, gents. What's up, man? 37 degrees in Brazil. Holy shit. That's hot. Does it get humid in Brazil? I'm actually very curious. Does it get humid in Brazil? I guess Brazil is kind of tropical, I would guess. I don't know. I'm just a fucking dumb American, man. I don't know these things. Anyways, Once Upon a Time says, do you have any plans to update your YouTube TA videos? I got price action pivots and have been watching for a while, but still don't feel like I have a good grasp on the basics. The YouTube TA tutorial, I might update it a little bit. My focus recently has been on the trading Bible and getting everything in there. I'll probably do some beginner stuff again for, just general YouTube. Yeah, because I actually do have some stuff saved up. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. And perhaps we should do some more for the price action pivots as well. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Like, what would be helpful for you? Like just a strategy video using it, or like or more like a theory video? Like, what would be, in your opinion, more useful? And I'll kind of use that to go off of, because that's what a feedback is super helpful, man. Yeah. Anyways, Jimmy Woo's. Yeah. Oh, what? Willy Woo is who I'm thinking of. Yeah, that guy. I haven't seen him in a while. All the miners are pumping. Fair enough. I don't usually really watch the miners, but what's the one that I'm familiar with? Mara. Mara's a miner, isn't it? Or is it just a holding stock? What's a Bitfarms would be one. Let's see. Bitfarms. See if this one is rallying. It is rallying, but right to that weekly turn is, oh man, I do not like these rallies, man. I mean, I do like these rallies, just they're all hitting places where if you want to be a mega bear, I mean, that's a beautiful place for it to try a top around. Jojo's looking at Stinky Linky. Sure, let's look at Link. I'm curious to see this one. This one was kind of among the better setting up ones in the past couple weeks, and still is here. Not correcting lower as well, even though it did have an opportunity to. And now that I look at it, I mean, technically, if you're on the daily, yes, you have a boundary here at about $24 to the upside. If you close above there, I think that this one's going to retest the highs more or less. Probably make new highs as well on this rally. I don't mean like new all-time highs, just on this rally, from the August highs. And to the downside, you get a nice little boundary at around $22. As long as you're above there, just generally bullish. So yeah, respect it. Again, above all major moving averages, kind of a similar fractal of the same chart that we've seen a few times now. Quarterly, also, in my opinion, quite good. Any sort of a quarterly close above this price action pivot at about, 22 and 3/4, something like that by end of this month. I think that this thing sets up for an actual real try higher last quarter, but, it's a long 20 days left to go. We'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. Love the new stream times. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I've really been enjoying it as well, but I'm curious. I'm heavily considering actually taking the new stream time and reducing it. No, making it later by 2 hours. Willy Woo sold as his Bitcoin, all his Bitcoin, like Plan B. It's interesting. I wonder why he'd do that. He was like one of the OGs, as well as Plan B, I suppose. Yeah, the trash pumped last. Yeah, that really does make me concerned here. But don't underestimate that the pump can go on for longer, and I think it will go on for longer. That's what makes these situations delicate. Some G said, "What's up, Some G? Hey man, UPXI stonk. Thank you for specifying, sir. UPXI. On Nas. Okay, now we have a very bad-looking stonk. It is indeed a stonk. Look, man. What was that? What the fuck actually was that? Else is making weird noises. Look, I don't know. Maybe you have some sort of insider information or some which makes you believe this thing's gonna pump. Look, if you're asking my opinion on this chart, you know what I'm gonna say, man. I'm gonna hate it. I'm going to hate it. I don't think you're going above this high anytime soon. That April 2025 high, and it's just down and to the right. And this looks like another lower high, a couple lower highs to me. Yeah, I really don't have hopium for you on this one, man. Like, if you have insider information or you just like the stock, hey, more power to you. That's not my game. If I'm looking at charts, I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. I don't think you're going above this high anytime soon. Maybe not even this high as well, that August high of 920. And this thing gets confirmed as ultra mega nasty dumpola. The second that you go below your July low, or sorry, it's not your July low, but this low right here from the end of July at 4.25. Below there, I mean, this thing continues to do what it loves to do, which is go down and suck. Call the shitcoin, please. Market open is best. Time is perfect. Yeah, it is really, really good. It's just quite early, man. I'm always like trying to rush my actual morning dumps against these streams. I'm actually serious. It's always a close call, man. It's always a close call. Can you check out stock UNH? Yeah, this is one that I am myself looking to get into a long-term position. I do not own it yet, but I would like to. It just continues to elude me, and I was an absolute fool. I got too greedy down here. Bad crown, very, very greedy. It got down to what was it, 236. I wanted 225. C'est la vie. Anyways, look, I think that this one has found its next major low. You're coming off of the monthly 200 simple here, this white moving average. Ultimately, I think it is going to take a long time for it to really form a low here. So while you are rallying right now, and it may even carry on, a decent amount higher towards like 360, I don't think it's going to be a V bottom out of here. I don't think it's going to be like that. I do think it's going to be like, for maybe a few years and then try some upside, setting in a real base. That would look about right. Long term, love the chart. But look, like if you're going to go for a long form consolidation, this one from 2008 took how long? It took from June of 08 to November of 10. Like, it's more than 2 years. So I think it's going to take a long time on these lows and then try the upside. But ultimately, I do think that, yeah, this is more or less, a major low, if not the low. So, yeah. Anyways, toilet stream. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I got a toilet connection. Hate and Spray Tan from New Jersey. Fuck yeah, man. We've been watching reruns of Jersey Shore. It's great. Great show. Let's see. Marco, sorry, almost said macro. Marco C says the Amazon rainforest exists. Crown is Brazil tropical. Like I say, I am just a lowly American with very limited knowledge of geography. I do not know these things, sir. I do not know these things. Anyways, my morning dump is also a close call. Can you get the price action pivots as a standalone? Absolutely. You can. In fact, it literally exists exactly for that purpose. I'll show you right here. If you go into the teachable link in the description below, I shall show you. We are going to learn something together today. We're going to learn something. If you go into the teachable link in the description below, it'll bring you to this page. Price action pivots are right here. It's available on its own. You don't need to do a monthly, a month by month type thing. You can do one-time payment and own it for life. I mean, that's usually what I prefer to do with anything as well. I fucking personally, I hate subscriptions. So whenever I have the opportunity to buy things, I just fucking do. So yeah, man, it's available right there, absolutely on its own. So yeah. All right, let me get back onto the chats right here. Coca-Cola says, bro. Hello, bro. Anyways, hate from gridlock traffic of Central Texas. Is it really that bad? Ask says, no, they don't want to be targeted. They bought paper Bitcoin for safety. They keep saying their stock they keep saying they sold to take the bullseye off their family's back. Oh, okay, yeah, I see. I can understand that. I can totally understand. I mean, that's the reason why personally I don't own physical Bitcoin. No, like I actually prefer the paper Bitcoin, so to speak, just because I mean, then you like. I mean, can you safely hold, big amounts of cash in your house in today's world? I mean, shit, man, they're fucking killing people on subways. Like, it's a bad decision. It's a bad decision. I'm like one of those show dogs who stops to take a Duke during the obstacle run. Yes, there you go. Let's see. Gala says, bought the Mafioso NFT and made the money back the first week. That's fucking awesome. F subscriptions, all in forever. Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, I've been doing a poor job of relating this, but the Signals NFT, I believe they are going to discontinue that as a lifetime option. I think on October 1st. I need to confirm with their glorious leader, but I think it's on October 1st. So if you do want that lifetime, then, well, I think you got another, I guess, like 3 weeks or so. Let's see. Gospel coin. Lev Ashton says, is there more green dildos in MNT closet, sir? Maybe, but you know what I can tell you about MNT is that, I think this is one of the shit coins that like the scammers in my comment, promote, or at least for some reason, I know this name. Maybe it's because I get like a million indications from Bybit about this, but this is actually pretty good, to be fair. I mean, it's more or less at all-time highs, while Bitcoin is looking like it wants to take a leg up or continue with this leg up. So if anything's going to do well, it would be this. I think that this thing's, it's kind of a formality whether it's going to make a new high or not. I think it will make a new high here. I guess we could pull a Fibonacci extension. I don't know how much I'm going to trust this, so don't fucking, hold your breath on this one. But I suppose, if this one does really continue from here and you go into one of those really good moves, which this would be the time for something like this, to be honest, somewhere around here, let's say 1 3/4 to maybe even $2, somewhere in that vicinity is kind of where I'd be looking towards, and then a big consolidation and come back to it after that. But yeah, I mean, it's in a good position during a good time to be in a good position. So yeah, I'd say that this one is actually probably the best shitcoin chart we've seen today, just by the very virtuous signal of being more or less at all-time highs. I mean, that's always gonna be good. Anyways, thanks for checking out Cardano the other day. Let's check it out right now. Actually, I'm curious to see if it's followed through or not. Most of the other ones have followed through. I would imagine this one probably is following through as well. Not to the same degree of strength, but it is following through a little bit on the daily. I think that this one will continue up a little bit more, at least towards 91 cents or so. And I'd still have the same disposition as we looked at it, over the last week. As long as you're above that low at 78 cents, this is a time for a lot of these things to try some upside. I think you at least get to like 90 cents or 91 cents, whatever it was. But that's not like super interesting. Where this one gets super interesting is when it gets back above $1. So yeah, but similar to Litecoin, similar to LINKUSD, similar to I feel like there was a few other ones, maybe Dogecoin as well. The monthly remains above all major moving averages. Just like my rule is, do not get bearish as long as you're above there. Upside is going to be more likely. It's what happened with gold as well. So yeah, basically as long as you're above that 78-cent low, this is its chance. Sorry, let me get back to these comments here. I see Aaron's back. He's looking at, he's posting a hypothetical. So just one moment. Sir, if Bitcoin hits 140 to 160, how big could the total market cap get this cycle? So if Bitcoin gets to 140 to 160, you're asking about the total market cap, including all of the shit. I mean, fuck, man, I don't fucking know. Like, I can look at the total, but this is like a hypothetical of a hypothetical. So we're going further and further out here. I mean, if Bitcoin got to 140 to 160, so what would Bitcoin's market cap be at that point? Like 3 trillion-ish? So I don't know. This one maybe gets up to like 4.5 or 5 trillion if that's the case. I'm totally guesstimating here, man. I'm not going off of much, but I would guess 4.5 to 5 trillion would be around where you're looking at, assuming with that assumption in mind. Okay, so big assumption here. Like if you're just tuning in and you just missed all the context with that, you done goofed, because I'm not saying that that's going to happen. Although I do think given enough time, it will happen. And hopefully if Bitcoin does spend some more time correcting, then I think that there's going to be a very healthy move towards that region. I don't know, maybe end of this year, early next year, something like that. But yeah, again, major assumption right there. Maybe that happens, maybe it don't. And could Tether dominance break below its all-time low? Okay, well, it's hold on, man. Its all-time low is like significantly lower than where it's at. I mean, that's from 2015 at literally spot 0.01%. I highly doubt it. Can it break below this low? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is in a downturn right now on the monthly. It's been the first real downtrend it's really ever had, which it entered into way back over since this bull market began in 2023. So yeah, I mean, it actually would be more likely than not, to be fair. But personally, I'm treating this low area right here as more than likely another, bounce region. Personally, that is how I'm looking at it. But hey, is it possible? Yeah, absolutely. And there's good reason to believe that it very well could happen based off of the trend right here. And if you do see a closure below 370, I mean, then you have a technical formation and a technical target much lower. I mean, just eyeballing it, you're probably looking somewhere around like 2%, which is kind of fucking crazy. But yeah, I guess we'll see. Personally, I'm not biased towards that. I'm not biased towards it taking out these lows here. I would be ecstatic to be wrong. Why? Because that means the corns are going to astronomical prices if that happens. Astronomical. Jacob Williams says, good morning from Perth. Sorry, it's probably not morning there. Greetings from Perth, sir. Can you take a look at TRM on ASX? Okay, got it. TRM. Trimera Metals Corporation. Oh, sorry, this is not the right one. I apologize. It's this one right here. They're all miners, though, which is kind of strange. I don't know how to read this chart. Overall, it's bad in my opinion. Does it rally from here and put in another lower high at around 6 cents? Maybe. But, these sort of mining stocks and shit like that, like it's usually narrative plays and it's news based and these sorts of things. That's not one of my edges. Like, look, if you have insider information, if you know what the hell's going to go on here, or you just really like the company, again, that's a different thing. Maybe it does indeed rally from here, but I would be biased against it personally, just based off of the long-term history. Do I think that in the short term it could rally up to, like I said, 6 cents? Yeah, definitely. But this looks like a major high to me that produces a swing, and I think that you're already there. It's just in the short term, does it rally from here? I think you are likely to rally from here. You're coming off the 200 simple on the weekly. It's been beat up a lot. Really wouldn't take too much to get it up. Like I said, somewhere around like 6 cents, let's say. But I would not be calling a macro reversal to the upside based off of what we've seen right there. Just again, personal opinion. If you're on a daily, I mean, I think you probably try a little bit of upside from here, either 5.7 or 6 cents, something like that. Anyways, Erica Crown Nano Cave says, "Hey, Zer, Chronopoulos. Can you crystal ball FEF1? What is this? Let's see. Whoops, I don't want to compare. I want to look at FEF. Says futures of something. IREN or futures. All right. Let's see. I've never looked at this in my life, so I should definitely say that. I think that you rally a little bit more here. Yes, but I don't like this chart overall. Like, let's draw this out here. Something like this. So you got same lows for the last 4 years straight. You got lower macro highs the whole way through. You got the 200 simple coming in at 113. So I do think you are in a rally phase here. It's kind of similar to a lot of cryptos, to be honest. And you rally somewhere in this vicinity. Maybe don't get all the way there, but somewhere around the vicinity, and then turn back down. Something like that. But yeah, I mean, that would kind of align with a bias towards a short-term extension of the rally. It's similar to kind of my opinion on Bitcoin. Anyways, if you're on the monthly and specifically, I think it at least gets to like 110. Does it try a little bit higher towards this region right here? I think there's a pretty good shot of that. It's just I'd be on lower high watch basically. Whether it's there, whether it's like closer to 125, I don't know, but I'd just be biased towards a lower high being put in somewhere in that red circle. Maybe it even comes a little bit lower. It's possible, but this thing should technically try to the upside here. You do have a quarterly bullish engulfing dildo in play. Yeah, we still got 19 and a half days left to go, but hey, anywhere above 104 by the end of this month, you will have that. I would definitely be biased towards further upside continuation. Just, I'm not calling this one like reversing to new all-time highs or nothing like that. The medulla oblongata. Another classic Adam Sandler movie. No, we actually haven't looked at SUI. Let's look at SUI. I'm curious to see what SUI looks like, just because, you know, it was one of the darlings of this market earlier on. It's definitely been struggling as of recent compared to a lot of things. But this one as well is getting a nice leg up here during the time when you'd really hope, you know, things would actually try some upside. Anyways, let's go to a weekly just really quickly. Let's get rid of maybe some of my drawings there. This one's similar to a few of the other ones in that last week's low is a big pivot now. As long as you're above there, should try some more upside. Again, as Bitcoin does look poised to try a little bit higher, could easily see this thing popping up to like 390. And generally a bullish bias as long as you're above last week's low. I mean, that's really the crux of it. That also means you come back down below last week's low of like 310 and this thing is going to fucking crater back to Hades. But for right now, man, I'd be biased towards this one popping up 385, 390, maybe even $4, something like that. You know, this is the chance and opportunity that a lot of these things really should be taking, to be quite honest. And again, you got another example right here. It's not a lot of history, to be fair, but you got another example of being above all major moving averages. As long as it's above about 336 on a monthly, like, it's okay. You know, should be biased towards it not being like fully done or anything like that. So I don't know, 385, 390, $4, whatever it ends up being. That'd be the next sort of area of interest I'd be looking for in the relative short term, if you will. Anyways, Get With The Hype says DTREF, DTREF. Okay, it's a new one for me as well. At all-time highs, basically, so very, very good, and constructively as well, with a new higher low just as of recent as last Friday. Very good, man. I think it's going to, you know, generally test the prior high at 21 cents, probably make new all-time highs. That's what this thing likes to do. It's got a nice up and steady to the right uptrend. The trend is indeed your friend. I'll say there's probably not much volume going on in something like this, but hey, as long as it produces upside price action, good. That also means that if you do come down below Friday's low, last Friday's low, yeah, okay, it's switch around to be bearish, but I don't think that's what's happening here. I think it's upside, man, up and to the right. Oh, okay, let me take some more sips of this. As he says, wouldn't USDT, I'm guessing you mean tether dominance, be in a long-term bear trend as USDC, USRL, and US other stables taking market share? That's why US total to seed stablecoin true percentage. Yeah, that's one way of interpreting it. We actually can look at the total stablecoin market here. There is a chart for that. It's this one here. But my issue with it is that there's not much, for some reason, it doesn't populate the long-term history. But this is all of the stablecoins dominance together. So cumulative. So yeah. But you can also see when, you know, if we highlight the time frame that we do have, it's a very similar chart to tether dominance. So that's why I continue to use that tether dominance chart. You know, it's this chart versus, again, this chart. They're very, very similar for the, yeah, you can see it's nearly one and the same. This one's a little bit weaker. But I mean, they are very, very similar charts. It's just, I prefer to have that long-term history. But yeah, I mean, when I look at this one, it is very clearly a swing top here. So bias has to be towards this one coming to the downside. Again, that's going to be an upwards bias on Bitcoins and the crypto market prices. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't really care Asian massage review. I'm not this naive. I almost said the F word. That's not fuck. I'm not an a. Look, for some reason, you look at that as a bad thing, man. The world is fucking dirty, dude. Like, get it through. you have to. I had a really big realization as I was traveling the world and, like, you know, really studying like other places and, you know, and seeing how things work and studying like all of the fucking ugly things of the world. You got to study the ugly things of the world. And what you'll understand is that, look, man, a lot of this stuff is fucking necessary for the absolutely beautiful life that you and I and people in the Western world get to live, even with all of its issues. And honestly, man, I can bring this back to, it's honestly the Lord of the Rings. Everyone, not everyone, that opinion that you just shared is like the hobbits. They are carefree, you know, they live in this beautiful land. They think that, you know, they don't need to do anything and they don't really need to mind any, any of their business outside of their little community. But what they don't understand is that outside of them, just right outside of their little myopic, you know, very naive view of the world is a very, very complicated world, which they are being protected from without them even knowing. And so they get to live this beautiful life, but it's really because of all of the terrible things that the people around them have to do. So I reject that, to be honest. I totally reject that. So fair enough. Yeah, I get it, man. It's a historical parallel. So I'm probably speaking out of turn here. Look, I'm probably speaking out of turn here, but it's just a sentiment that I've seen so many times now, where like someone the other day sent me a video about how Palantir is the bad guy and they're and they're doing bad things. Like, dude, are you that fucking naive to think that these things don't need to be fucking done? Like, do you not understand all of the terrible things that all of the enemies, all of the enemies of wherever the hell you live, because everyone has fucking enemies, are doing against you on a second by second basis? Like, we are so ungrateful for like these things that go on in the background, and we're so naive to think that they don't exist, and moralistic to think that they shouldn't exist as well. I guess you're not saying that, so my apologies to you, sir. Hey, look, I get it, man. I get it. I think we're probably of the same opinion. Maybe I'm just speaking out of turn because of, prior conversations that I've been having over the past few days and just shit that I've been seeing on the internet. It's just like, Jesus Christ, man, do you not fucking get this? But obviously you do. So fair enough. My apologies. That was my bad. Okay. It's my bad. I am also a moron as well. All right, cool. We live in Game of Thrones world. I mean, yeah, Game of Thrones, that is, at least the first, 5 seasons, politically speaking, that's quite accurate. Yeah, you need to see the outside of the U.S. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You just do not understand. I mean, I've seen outside of the U.S. and I barely understand the rest of it. I just understand that it's fucking messy, man. It's very fucking messy. It's very fucking messy. Unfortunately, look, I wish the world was like the naive place that a lot of these people, I guess, are clinging to, or at least that that is their worldview. I wish it really was, honestly. Like, that'd be great. That'd be the utopia, that I think most people would want. But it's just more complicated, unfortunately, man. That's why you have to be really, really grateful when you do get those beautiful moments. You have to be really fucking grateful for them, because all of the things that preceded it to make it possible is just a miracle. It's a fucking miracle. Crown, Bitcoin is going up. Does this make you upset? Why are you? Yeah, man, I'm livid right now. I hate it when I make more money. It's disgusting. It makes me. I hate rich people, but it's making me more rich. So I hate myself in turn. Holy shit! You figured it out. Yeah, man. Yes. We need to light fires against ourselves, and I don't know, fuck everything up. Edward Silver says the sad part is people like us just being manipulated by others with lots of money. Are we being manipulated? Are we not also manipulating others as well? I mean, I don't know, man. I think that's maybe a bit of a one-sided view. It's very likely that you're also manipulating as well in some way. Maybe you're just not even aware of it, Anyways, taking a shit right now, and I appreciate this moment. I know you do, Mr. Hobbit. I know you do. The hate equals great. Why am I gay? I was born this way. That's how I chose to be. And I appreciate the male body. I don't need to be rich to hate myself. Fair enough. Yeah, man. There is a lot of that. There is certainly a lot of that. Does Elsa say up or down? Elsa, is it up or down? It's up. Elsa says up. Elsa, can you look at this chart? Okay, look at your screen right now and tell me if you think this chart is up or down.
I'll just say up. It's going up, okay?
Elsa says up. Elsa says up. Sir, I manipulate my reality with abundance. Okay. I do. When you really break down the abundance people, I fucking love it as well, man. I really do. Because what these abundance fuckers really are, and like all these super pseudo spiritual people, is who like believe in the what is it called? The law of attraction, where it's like you just think of something and then you get it without any real action and work. Because I understand there is a part of that is true and does work, but a lot of people forget that part. It's spiritual narcissism, man. It's like other people have zero agency, only you do, and and I guess that's the way. It's insane, man. It's totally insane. Coin Writer says down, clearly down. Fair enough. Coin, please. Yeah, let's look at Coinbase. Again, full disclosure, I do hold this one. And for some reason, I can't find it on my list. There it is. 320. So nice rally here. I do think that this rally could carry on a little bit more, but I also simultaneously think that we've seen a top for a while here. Does it pop up and fill the gap at 380 at some point? Probably yes. Does it do it from this rally here? That's a big question mark. I really don't know on this one. Again, full disclosure, I do own this one. I am personally biased towards it correcting lower. I'm actually biased towards that before it tries another, reasonable move to the upside. In the short term, does it try more on this current move? That's a big question mark in my mind. If anything, I mean, shit, man, this looks like another lower high right here if it finishes the day anything like this. So I suppose we'll see. Look, if you see today close something like this below 320, I mean, that's another lower high. And I think you're coming back down to about 295. And I think that, again, it does correct lower overall, whether it rallies from here or not. So, yeah. But I'm not necessarily bearish on it long term. I think, you might do something like this. Maybe it rallies a little bit more from here. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. That's not my strong bias. My strong bias is something like this, and then maybe some upside. Yeah. All right. Thinking about the name says AVAX. We actually looked at that one earlier. We were looking at it earlier this week and late last week as well. We were saying on a breakout about 31-ish. There's a technical target here based off of this as an ascending triangle. That's about 31. You got the weekly 200 simple as well in that area. So good confluence. So anywhere around 31, 32, 33 region, just low 30s is kind of where I'd be looking for. But I just, man, when I see these sort of things, like this is very likely going to be the next pop, but it's just like the ones that preceded it, very, very short-lived. So I don't like that, man. Anyways, Ethereum dominance finding what seems like a local top. Do you see it going higher? I don't know. Let's see. Ethereum dominance is really not something that I've looked at much myself. Yeah, I think that it has I think that this will be inevitably a swing high here. And whether you get a short-term rally or not, I feel like I see that, say a similar thing very, very often, but you might get a very, very short-term rally. That is insignificant in my opinion. I think that this is a big swing top for a while and you do find your way back down towards 12%. Is this a helpful chart? I don't fucking know. But yeah, monthly also hitting up to the green moving average. I mean, these are places that you look for, in this case, lower highs in alignment with the trend, which is a downtrend. But how is the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio? Did that one get up to about 4? Or I think we were looking at 4.5 to 5 million Satoshis. It has not gotten up there just yet, and it's already pulling back a little bit. But yeah, I don't know about this one. I still think that this one will at some point get up towards at least 4.5 million Satoshis. I'd preferably like to see like 5 to 5.5. Ultimately, still another lower high, but I don't know, man. We shall see. We shall see. Are you looking at SEI and Cardano? Man, you must be coming in here late. Late, sir. Late, sir, indeed. But we can look at those. I think we already looked at Cardano, but go back to really quickly. Sorry, let's go to this one. Okay, SEI. Again, despise charts like this, man. But in the short term, like a lot of these things, I think it could easily extend this run in the short term to like 33 cents. It doesn't really do much for it because your last major high was 36 and a quarter or so. So as long as you're below there, I mean, this is a pretty nasty downtrend. The second that you trade above that 36 and a quarter cent high right there, yeah, I do think that you could put in, a pretty extensive move towards 45 to 50 cents. But I mean, look, man, the long-term trend is your friend here, and it is to the downside, and it's very heavily to the downside as well. I really don't like that. So while I do think it at least continues a little bit to the upside in the short term, don't confuse that for long-term bullishness. I'm just waiting for the next lower high and something like this. And look, the second that it comes back down below even 29 and a quarter, I'd be saying, hey, this thing is getting ready for its next major leg to the downside. Something like that, man. Man, we've already looked at all of these. I think these will be the last couple ones that we revisit, though. Dogecoin, it was very, very similar as well, kind of like constructively popping up here. It's already back around that August high. I mean, it doesn't really matter if you close them because I'm just going to close off the stream soon anyways. But, yeah, this one, does it officially test that high? I think it does, 25.5 cents. If it can actually reclaim that high with a closure, I think that you're in for a big move north of 30 cents. But just like the last one, well, actually not similar necessarily to the last one, but similar to the last few times we've spoken about this one, 20.5 cents is going to be the major pivot to the downside. As long as you're above there, short term, upside is a bias, yes. But that's where I look for the long term to once again continue onwards and forwards with more downside. ASST? No, I didn't. All right, ASST. Okay, spiked the prior high, immediately sold off from that. I think it's just going to fill this gap and actually pop back up, to be honest. Or at least, it's kind of already filled the gap somewhere down. Maybe it comes a little bit closer to 7.25 first, but I'd be looking for a bounce around here, honestly. I do not know what to make of this chart long term, though. I just want to be really fucking candid about that. I really don't know what to make of this chart long term. But in the short term, should be a bounce around here. Very, very extremely bearish if you do come back down below 5.25. But until then, this is a nice little breakout, I guess. Weekly still looks okay. Monthly still looks okay. Long time left to go. Syrup. SY. Okay. All right. We haven't looked at this one today. Yeah, still not great. We looked at this one last week, and I think earlier this week, another lower high right here. Does it try a short-term rally, maybe back up to 47 or 48 cents? It's possible, yeah, but I think that this one's more likely to come back down to 41 or 40-ish. Still hoping, I guess, for the long term, as long as you're above about 39 cents, this low from late August. But when you start to come down below there and close a daily below there, I'll be looking for this thing to fall apart to very low 30s. Yeah, so maybe something like this, like very small, boom, comes down, and then hopefully for your sake, it does put in a higher low there. If it doesn't, then absolutely fucked. Guys, for fuck's sake, no more super chats. All right, I'm putting my foot down. Like, no more after this moment, for real. Ethereum, it did have that red and yellow moving average cross right here. So at some point, I do expect it to get back down to about 40.50, or basically this low that we saw from mid-August. Does it try a short-term rally first on the 4-hour? It's doing that right now. But all these are lower highs, and this is still, admittedly, another lower high right here. I would say on the short term, it will buck the short-term trend if you do see this thing rally back above 44.90, so still decently higher than where it's at right now. Above there, okay, you have created a new trend on the short-term timeframes, and I'll be looking for an extension back up to like 46.50-ish. But until that happens, man, I'm going to be biased towards this cross playing out because that just has been the history of this thing. Again, it can take some time to play out, but yeah, I think the LARP lines here are going to be more or less directionally correct. Maybe not obviously at this exact time, but over a long period of time, yeah, probably gets somewhere down back around there. I will check the last couple ones. We did do RCL. We absolutely did RCL. Okay. We did. Oh, did you want? You didn't want the cruise ones. You wanted this. Look, they're all fucking garbage. Like, for real. This is terrible, 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 terrible. Look, this is probably your next major high for a very, very long time. Maybe you spike up in the short term, back up to like 140. I don't know. I don't care. This thing is not going to be getting back above this high anytime soon or any sort of real uptrend. It is going down and to the right for a very, very long time, probably the rest of its life, if I had to guess. Okay, it's not even... Is it a quarterly double top? No. And we did the Royal Cruise Lines earlier as well. Yeah, we did do UPXI. We did we will do Cardano. That's the only one that I've not done. But yes, we did absolutely do UPXI, ASST as we just did, and the RCL. Okay, cool. Carderpio. And we even looked at this one as well, to be fair. But yeah. I do think in the short term, it probably extends towards like 91, 92, something like that. And even on the weekly, I'd be having a bullish bias here as long as you're above that last week low of 78 cents. But the second that you come back down below that low, I'd get very, very bearish on this. Until then, it's the same thing as we saw on Litecoin, the same thing as we saw on Dogecoin, same thing as we said as we saw on LinkCoin and a few other ones as well. As long as you're above all these monthly major moving averages, it's, in my opinion and in my experience, not wise to get bearish on them. And that's being held up at actually 78 cents. So yeah, big number right there. As long as you're above there, I'd generally be looking up. This would be the time for a lot of these things to try their rallies. The second that you come back down below there, big fucking problems. Big fucking problems. So yeah, going back to Bitcoin here and kind of wrapping this one off. Let's see. Even Bitcoin right at the 4-hour 200 simple. But, again, it's all about the daily closure today. Any sort of a closure, I would say above 113. Hold on. What is the exact number right here? 113,400, 113,400, 113,400 on, that's Bitstamp. On the index, it's 113,420, a little bit easier to remember. If you do see a daily closure above there, I really do think you're going to see another multi-$1,000 leg to the upside, 115.5 to 117.5, somewhere in that vicinity. And you're going to see altcoins rally with Bitcoin, obviously. But when Bitcoin gets around there, if it does get around there and actually successfully close above this region, again, big if and then statement, although I am kind of biased towards it happening, to be honest. That's when I'd be a lot more defensive on Bitcoin, saying, hey, this is a great place for a little bit of a turnaround. And remember, we still have those setups that are pointed lower for a correction continuing onwards and forwards before any legitimate upside emerges. And when I say legitimate upside, I mean like a continuation of the trend that is going to evolve into like like something that actually goes on for a while is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, anyways, that's where we'll end things for today. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone joining on in. As always, it's been a nice, pleasurable conversation. I apologize about all of the dumb shit that I say because I say a lot of it, but it is what it is. That's what you come here for. Silly goose time, not a serious time. All right. Asian Massage Review says, Crown, serious question. If you had designed and proven a new TS system which would protect the price and time, you can't even do that to begin with, so it's impossible. What I can do is I can come up with these probabilistic setups, which is what I do, and then I show you the probabilities. That's what I actually truly enjoy doing, man. So that's what I have been doing, but there's literally no way to predict the literal price and time. And if I did have that system, I don't know, would I share it? I don't have to worry about that because it's not fucking happening. We can come up with probabilities. Those I'm happy to share, man. Probabilities are where it's all at. That's my main message on a channel like this. Anyways, pleasure as always, guys. We'll be back on Friday morning, same time, same place. And yeah, with all of that said, take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.